Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is The Pursuit of Wellness. My name is Kabir Uppal, and each week I talk to wellness experts and enthusiasts to extract key information that we can use to get holistically healthy together. On this episode, my guest is Tanya Agarwal. She is a yoga and running blogger and runs her own content site called wealthyfit.com. We spoke about the best mediums to create wellness-related content and how she picks her topics and collaborates with other content creators. It was a really fun episode, but my personal takeaways were the importance of engaging with your audience and how to use analytics and stats to decide those topics that you're writing about, and also how product companies actually partner up with content creators to get the message out. If you're new to the show, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or any other podcast app you use. It would really go a long way to help us grow the show. This is a Muncher Media production, and you can find out more information on munchermedia.com. You can also follow us on @Muncher Podcasts on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or you can also follow me on all my social media @Kabir Uppal. Before we jump in with Tanya, I want to mention our sponsor for this episode. TEGO is premium activewear for the modern everyday athlete. They create products that are engineered to help you win your sweaty battles. And I have to say, TEGO really knows what they're doing, guys. Right now I'm wearing their vaporized shirt, which is made from performance cotton and dries twice as fast as regular cotton. And it really works. So whether it's a grueling workout in the gym or outside, or a long-ass flight that you're taking, check out TEGO at tego.fit/TPOW. That's TEGO.fit/TPOW. Let's jump in with Tanya now, guys. Hey Tanya, welcome to the show.
Hey Kabir, nice to be here.
Thank you for making your way back to Delhi for us and recording this episode with us. We've already given our audience a little bit of an introduction about you, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself in your own words?
To define myself, I'm a mom of two. I run a fitness website by the name of wealthyfit.com, and I run a lot. I do a lot of yoga, and I love to write.
Awesome. So where did this entire journey begin for you? When did you decide you wanted to write about fitness and wellness, and when did Wealthy Fit begin?
Well, it started after I started running. So, running a lot, first year of running, obsessed with running, enjoying every run, long run, short run. And then as I got into it more and more, I just, I always liked writing, but now I found a reason to write because also the running community in India, it's just growing by leaps and bounds. So it just felt like if I could write about it, about yoga, which is also something I do, I've been doing it for a while, just thought I'll put up something together, put my prowess of writing as a journal basically. And like I always say that writing is a symptom of thinking. So many thoughts came in and I got inspired reading other blogs, and I said, why not? Why not have one of my own? You don't need equipment. You don't need permission. You're not a guest blogger.
You're the boss.
You're the boss. It's your page. Write what you like, publish, send it out to people, share. Why not? That's
awesome.
how it came.
So that is how Wealthy Fit started.
Yes.
Great. So, jumping into content creation for the fitness and wellness space, something that you have been doing for almost 3 years now. Mm-hmm. What are the mediums that you think convey the best information? I know that, Wealthy Fit is primarily text and images. But can you tell us a little bit of, your point of view in terms of disseminating information? How is it best understood by your target audience?
Social media is hyperactive right now. We know that. So if I look at, for example, my audience is a runner, right? My audience wants to receive information through images. So there is FB, there is Instagram. Yeah. But when you sort of read something on FB, it goes down too fast. Maybe a couple of minutes, couple of hours, days, it's gone. If you look at Instagram, it's too picture based, right? So people are just, sort of in the lure of looking at good pictures, and sometimes they do end up reading what you write, but you got to keep it short. One-liners are the best, right? But when you're looking at disseminating information to runners, for example, they want to read about speed. Everybody wants to read about speed. People want to read about weight loss. So many new runners, right? They start heavy and, they just want to lose weight and everything. So they need content, and that's where I feel like the most powerful way of disseminating information to my target audience, I feel, apart from videos, is just put down good, high quality content. If I can't write it, I'd get someone really good to write it for me. Publish it on their name, but just because everybody wants quick fix. If you want to increase your speed, they want to know, how do you do it? Right? So not what is the problem, but how do you do it? So you just get someone to, work on that part, whether it's weight loss, whether it's speed, what to eat before a run, what not to eat, how to get going on podium finishes, all of that. So I feel like the link, just having a link is an amazing way to make sure there is something you can go back to again and again. You can share that link anywhere, keep it, file it, RSS, it's there.
Awesome. So in terms of, some of the other mediums that exist, you had mentioned before we started that you've dabbled in the video space. You'd also mentioned that you listen to a lot of audio content while you're running.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on disseminating information through that? Are there some things that you think work really well when you're running? And what do you think is kind of missing in terms of audio content or video content in the space?
I think podcasts are awesome. I do listen to them, and I feel like there's a huge gap in content creation when it comes to podcasts, especially for runners, let's say, or especially for, people in yoga. I would love to wake up to a podcast, which has a segment, a daily segment where, in the morning when you wake up, you just have like maybe 2 minutes of something motivational, something that can interact with you, go down to your heart and say, hey, you're a runner, let's get going. Something like that, right? So I feel like there are audiobooks, and many of us run on the treadmill, right? And how do we really get by a treadmill? By either Bollywood music or some music, staying entertained, or just listening to great podcasts, listening to great speeches. So would love it if, somebody or someone could just package some amazing speeches and put them down on a podcast, and just so I think there is a need for that. There is even a blogger like myself. I have not worked on that space at all. And I would love it if there is an example for me, doing something like this, and I would love to dabble in it.
Awesome. Well, I think, the industry in general, how we've kind of seen here is that it's growing. There's more opportunity, and it's getting easier and easier to kind of create this content. And also, as you said, that you need something that is engaging, and podcast listeners are some of the most engaged and organic audiences that are out there. Shifting a little bit to the kind of topics that you guys discuss and the kind of topics that you like to consume content of, which topics do you get maximum traction on Wealthy Fit, and why do you think that is so? You had mentioned that there's some weight loss stuff, there is speed. So what are the specific ones that your readers like the most?
So now, before and after stories of weight loss of runners who've just transformed their lives because of running. Then there are inspirational stories of women, who had nothing to do with fitness in their lives at one time, right? But today have gone and run a Boston Marathon, right? So these kind of inspirational stories, motivational stories with a personal connect, I would say, because there is so much. The internet is a sea of communication, right? People are communicating all the time, right? But still, everybody wants to get touched somewhere where it says, oh, I believe. So the stories which have the I believe factor. So like I said, fitness inspiration stories, motivational stories of women who've lost so much weight and are running like the wind now, right? Speed. In running, speed is a big deal, right? Because even though you would have been running for 10 years and you've sort of figured out that running is my go-to therapy, right? But there are so many new runners who say that I want speed somehow, right? So all the speed articles, they do brilliant. Like I said, weight loss does brilliant. Recently I wrote an article on how your hobby can affect your mental health. Now, I'm also a runner, so I understand how you get obsessed with, running so much. And at the back of your mind, that there is a family and there is running, and you got to sort of make the elusive balance work somehow. And I know that a lot of people are not able to. So this is one topic I know that's sitting at the back of people's mind. They don't want to talk about it. So when I wrote that article, how your passion can affect your mental health or your life, I got like some 6,000 to 7,000 hits that day, And as a blogger, I would say that hits is one thing, but if people are not spending time on your home run, that means you are basically not doing well on your content. And that day I figured that, yes, you can talk about speed, you can talk about weight loss, obvious topics, but then there are these underlying topics on mental health, which I've started writing on Wealthy Fit recently, which are doing amazingly well. For example, what are the 5 things an independent woman, not married, yet happy, does not want to listen to? I did an article recently. It did really well. So you would think that they are cliches, but cliches are something you want to hear more because that's where you want to get voiced more, right? So these kind of, this kind of content is doing really well where it hits the person's psyche. I think people want to feel that, oh, you know what she wrote is exactly what I'm going through.
Yeah. They can relate.
Yes. So I don't think I can bring something new to the table every day. If I'm writing every day, I cannot, and I mean, there are so many amazing, brilliant, talented writers and thinkers and runners out there. I don't think it's possible for me to just bring everything every day. So I believe that if I also talk to a tiny audience and say, hey, these are the 1,000 people who are actually reading my stuff and believe what I'm writing ticks with them, I feel like I've found the right topic, and I have to think about my reader when I'm writing.
Great. So you have a pretty deep understanding of, what may seem relevant. And again, as you said, that you might not be able to create content that is relevant every single day, but having that connection with your audience, every maybe week, every 2 weeks, where something comes out and they feel that it has had a genuine impact on their lives. They are feeling better. They're able to communicate with friends, family, spouses better, or they're able to kind of be better at the thing they're pursuing, whether it's running or yoga. So, kind of shifting into the points that you made, tell us a little bit, about your audience. Who is your target market? Who are people that you think can get value? I know you touched upon that a little bit in the last one as well. But what are the things that you are kind of keeping in mind, knowing that particular audience, and who are some people in our audience can say, hey, maybe I should go to Tanya's blog and check it out?
If you talk about nutrition, I have articles on nutrition, but I just feel like that space has such amazing people already writing about it. It doesn't fascinate the person coming on my blog, though I have written blogs on nutrition for runners, protein, carbs, so all of that, when I put it up, it really goes out very well and everything. But what do people come for again and again? I would say specific articles on running. Now recently mental health, like on Women's Day, we wrote an article on men's mental health, and it did really well. So there is a returning home run audience of people who want to sort of read a lot about running and want to read about mental health and gradually want to actually write about running and fitness.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And this is kind of more from personal curiosity, but how mature is your analytics? Do you deep dive into, whether you have Google Analytics or any other technology that you're using? Do you do a weekly, monthly review? And are you looking very carefully at your demographics, where your audience is coming from, how much time they're spending on each page? Because it seems like you have a pretty good understanding of which articles are really working out. And what your audience is really coming back for.
Yeah, so I do have Google Analytics. I follow them every day, not once a week.
So you're on that. You're on top of that all the time.
So like I said, the readership, of course it matters. I mean, why am I writing? I want people to read my write-ups. So I have, I see that my articles are heavily read in Maharashtra region.
Okay.
Heavily, something I've not been figured out why. But huge audience coming from Maharashtra, Bangalore, and then Delhi. So it's a curve which I've not been able to figure out, but I see that most of my writings are very well received in Bombay, Pune,
Do you think there are
Bangalore.
more runners in Bombay, Pune, Bangalore than in Delhi?
I don't think so, but maybe they'd like to read more. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the local train, commutes and the car commutes are longer, and maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's where I see a lot of the amount of time people spend. So like I said, I figured that if people are spending less than 45 seconds on your page, your content is not engaging at all, right? Not impactful enough, like you said. So I feel like, I'm gauging that traction as well. Yes, some articles just hit the rock bottom, scum of the rock bottom so badly. And those are, sometimes I feel like, I wrote my heart out. I wrote it so beautifully, but no.
But that's good data too, right? You know what they don't want.
Exactly. I don't know how much I want to learn from that. But
I'm sure you have. If you have got so many that, have been a hit, you know what to write about now.
So in the first year, I was putting up 3 articles a week, somehow. Just somehow I was. Come second year, I understand. 3 is not important. Quality is more important. Content is king because, actually the content marketing part, right? I mean, I've written the content. Now, if I'm not spending adequate time in promoting that content, I'm not doing justice to myself, to my time, right? So that's where I learned. So that came down to 2 articles a week. And then there were times I would put up only 1 and just wait for that traction. But I also realized that if you're not putting up about 2 articles a week, you are losing traction.
Yeah.
You're not really.
So would you say that's kind of the sweet spot of,
yes.
What I'm hearing is that a lot of it is not dependent solely on frequency, that it's high quality and then spending time, as you rightly said, on distribution, figuring out what are the best channels to push out your content so that people are actually seeing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wasn't heavy on Instagram before. But so many people would say, hey, why don't you just put it on Instagram and, people will know about it and everything. And when I went to Instagram, I was like, but Instagram is so picture based, people don't want to read up, right? So, okay, I put my link in bio, but how many people are interested in looking at my picture and then clicking on that particular thing? So I did get some traction from Instagram and now I'm sort of using Instagram every day. But I figured that Google Analytics is a great way to work on your readership. Now I can see immediate impact. Like if I have pushed out an article, I can see for the next, let's say 5 hours, the real time sitters on my page. What are they really reading? Is an old article also being read? The link I had put, the hyperlink, how many people are actually clicking on that hyperlink? All of that.
So you're looking at the journey as well.
Yes,
if they came in from article A, why did they go to article B, C, D?
Yeah, exactly. The related articles, the widgets, how many people are sharing them. I wrote an article. It was like a 200-word article. It was called Love Actually. So I'd gone for a run in Dwarka half marathon, and I saw a woman running. And I saw a man chasing her with a baby in his arms, and he was like really cheering her up. And I was like, what's happening? And then figured that she had, given birth like maybe 7 months back. And, this guy is a established runner, but he wants his wife to run. So I wrote this really small article called Love Actually. I had 100 shares. I just didn't understand why.
Relatable.
But yes, personal connect, woman, a child, love, fitness, pushing, motivation, put together the whole package. So these are the kind of people who sort of are coming back to my page again and again. And I can see that the human connect, because you see, I'm a blogger. I'm a personal blogger, to be very honest, right? I'm not every article I dole out is carrying reviews or commercial aspects, right? So, for me, this returning audience is the God zone, right? And if they are not coming back, I feel like my writing is not hitting the sweet spot.
So you kind of optimize based on that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So, kind of building on that, what are your thoughts? You have a lot of knowledge, from all the data that you're collecting and getting in touch with your audience. You know what they like. I think this is great insights for people that are passionate about creating content and are into fitness and wellness as well. In terms of what you've told us about high quality content, using analytics. It's so nice to hear that, you really deep dive into understanding your audience, which I think a lot of content creators that are passively doing it or doing it out of passion.
No, I absolutely work on the keywords.
Nice. Awesome.
What keywords to get.
That's an area that I'm so interested in. And I'm so glad to hear that, and that's probably why you have such great traction and people coming back, right? What are your thoughts on the trends of content, right? How are things moving, in the 3 years that you've had this experience? Obviously you're right about the kind of content people love, weight loss before and after, inspirational, motivational stuff. You've also branched out now. You're doing product reviews. You're talking about different aspects of fitness and wellness. As you said, mental health also you're getting into. How do you decide these? And tell us a little bit about the process of product reviews as well.
Okay. So, the first year when I started Wealthy Fit, I just started and, a lot of people who were selling anti-aging and beauty products. And this is what I figured, that the fitness and wellness industry is really like about, there is one huge segment of beauty and anti-aging, and then there's a segment of, the protein shakes and,
fitness gear
and, all of that, right? So I started, and obviously I started with passion, to be honest. And I said it will take me a year or two to start monetizing, and that's perfectly fine because I'm a teacher on the side and I can sort of work that out. But I started getting, work on the influencer marketing bit, right? Where they would approach me and say that, okay, this is the protein shake. This is the way that, you should try, and then sort of, have it reviewed on your thing, and we won't pay you for it, right? So interesting, because you want me to try your product and you want me to spend my time on it, and then you want me to write about it, but you don't want to pay me for it. So right from the beginning, my strategy has been very simple. I'm not against anyone who's coming to me. I'm not going to judge you, but I'm going to try your product for a month, depending upon the kind of product, especially if it's an edible, perishable product. If it's a fitness gear, then of course I have to use it for a while. And I figured that it doesn't go down very well, but this is it. I do this. So I will try your product, and then if I like it, I will give you various mediums. Like, is it FB? Is it Instagram? Is it my blog? Do you want a link? And I have charges for it separately, right?
So you have packages set up.
Yes, I have a package set up. And I also see the effort that's going to go in, right? I mean, there is no slab as such, right? Yeah. So what kind of content creation are you looking for? There are some people who want to give, do giveaways, right? There are some people who would say, make a video for us. So the effort, right?
That goes in, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So it all depends upon that. So I've had that segment, and I do very less and few reviews because I'm scared of being branded all the time.
And also you're putting a significant amount of effort to understanding the product first.
Yes, absolutely. So that's one part. But of course, I had another, the beauty section also coming to me and saying, would you do this? And that's where I had to really take a stand and say that, if I do this, like I said, I'm looking for a tiny audience, right? I'm looking for that audience who believes in me, in my work, and sees how true to my work I am, because actually your blog is a blogger's personality.
Yeah.
A blog, what you see is a blogger's mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
And it has to be consistent and recurring.
Yes. So even though I have people writing on my page, I know that they're writing because of Tanya Agarwal.
Yeah.
Right? Because they believe in me. So if they're coming to my page and saying, hey, we'd love to write for your page, or we love reading your page, there is a certain thing on my shoulders that I carry, and I want to be consistent with that. And I want to put out a different personality out there, which is consistent with, like you said, with what I'm doing, right? So that's where like a lipstick company came to me and they said, we saw your picture on Instagram and, we would love to. And for a minute, the offer was so good. It does sort of make you feel weak, and you say, okay, I would love to, but you have to pull yourself back. That influencer marketing is so big. But even in the fitness industry, there are such beautiful ways you can actually create content. Like I said, podcasts, you can talk about the product in such a beautiful way. People can just, sit in the car and just have it on without looking at the screen. I mean, we are all the time talking about not looking at screens, right? We are talking about screen affects your mental health, and, you're going to die one day very soon, radiations and blah, blah. So that's why I feel that, why not just plug something in your ears and just sit back and listen, right? Yeah. So I feel, the product reviews have, podcasts have a great potential when it comes to product reviews. Yes, you can finally wrap it up with a video
or images, etc.
But again, it's all addictive, right? So I feel like audios are a great way to create that content and put out there without affecting your health.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, if we are creating product reviews and doing, content creation for the fitness and wellness space, do it in a healthy manner.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. As organic as you can get. So this is, the product reviews have so far just wanted images.
Yeah, they want a quick turnaround,
Yes,
they say,
instant
here's my
fix.
product, put it up.
Yeah, instant fix. People will say for the next 10 days, can you put up these 10 pictures? We'll pay you for it. Okay. I would not mind doing that. You're paying me well enough for it, but hey, I don't believe in it.
Yeah. Plus your audience might come back and say, hey, Tanya, what is this?
Yeah. So,
right?
yeah. So, and that's where I'd love a blogger like DC Rainmaker. He just he does it for everyone, but he also has a podcast and, you could just listen to so much stuff that's going on. And I feel like that's where I connect with the content creator and with the product a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So before we move into our last segment, I wanted to get an understanding also about how you kind of onboard these content creators. You mentioned that people that are writing for you understand your audience. They understand your messaging and tone. They understand what Tanya Agarwal stands for, right? So when people do you go out and find these people? Do you initiate these conversations? Are there people getting in touch with you and saying, hey, Tanya, can we write for Wealthy Fit? Tell us a little bit about that framework.
I've been very lucky, very lucky. So in the beginning, I had to go out and ask people. And again, I had to do my Reiki on people. I had to figure out who these people are, especially in the running community, because in the beginning, it was a lot about running. So I was in it almost for a year and a half before I started Wealthy Fit. So I sort of knew who these people were. So for example, I have Alfredo Miranda. He writes for my page. He's one of the best mentors in Delhi. He's Spanish, but he has a great understanding of running science. I mean, his articles are technical, so he has a great understanding of running science and everything that goes behind it. Like I said, cadence, heart rate running, all of these things. So he is a recurring writer and I think every time he writes he also sort of understands what he wants to put forth in a more, easier, simplified way for his runner reader. So I've had him writing for the page for the last 3 years now, almost. The other way, so one way is that I scout people and I tell them that, I read about you and I feel like you have a story to share, and they're very happy to do that. There are some people who come to me and they say that they would love to write. And here again, it's been a hit and trial, because some people, they want to write, don't really have the prowess, but I don't want to demotivate them.
They want to express themselves.
Yes. And they sure do have value, right? So for example, I have, Kaustubh Bratkar. He's a Pune-based Ironman coach. I wanted him to write about how he mentally coaches his people, right? So I reached out to him and he was brilliant. He just he said, I would love to write about this. So I would say in the beginning, I had to go out a lot and ask people to do this, and they never said no. But now I have...
It's a bit more inbound.
Yes. Now I have people coming in and saying, we would love to write, can you feature us? I also have a lot of men and women who, after cracking their PBs and everything, want to write.
Nice. Yeah. About that journey.
And like I said, that sells a lot, because
people get motivated.
Yes, people get motivated. People are like, she was a housewife like 5 years back and now she's running the Boston. How come, right? So that gap, right? So these are the kind of people who also love to write about their stories. So far, 97%, I would say I've had a really good experience with getting, again, I am not stuck up about them being experts.
Yeah.
I am stuck up about them being really passionate about what they do. Yeah, words I can give, the cosmetic surgery of their blog I can do. If they give to me in pointers as well, I'm happy to make a blog out of it.
Nice.
Right? But they have to be really passionate and
know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And they should have been doing it for a while, right? I mean,
experience
5-6
counts
years.
For something.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So this is really my criteria of getting people on board.
Awesome. That's great. I think it's worked out really well for you. And it's good that, you have people coming to you that are passionate about it. And 97% is a pretty high number.
Yes. I mean, for mental health, I had Shubhrata Roy. She's a civil servant. She's written a book on mental health, and she writes articles in, all the leading dailies on mental health. And when I spoke to her, about writing something, she's the one who wrote on men's mental health on International Women's Day for my blog. So I feel like, the fact that they are ready to do it, that means Wealthy Fit is sort of, the right place for them to talk about people. I covered a IPS officer, Vishwas Nagre. he has done so much for people in the Pune region, around Pune region, to sort of bring fitness, running, ultra marathons, in that particular area. So I even covered him, So these people have never said no. So I'm in fact, after them, I have people writing, people who know them. They have written to me and said, would you like to cover this person?
Wow.
Yeah. So that's where I've taken a call. But, at the risk of sounding whatever, that's where I have taken a call. Yeah.
No, and again, goes back to, this being your platform. You get to kind of direct which decision.
Yes. Yeah. And it's a great way for me to connect with people.
Great. Yeah. So we're almost towards the end of our time here. Mm-hmm. There are some things that we're now asking our guests on, every guest on podcast. Tell us 3 sources of information that you have loved in the last, say, 6 months or a year in your own personal journey. No time-bound stuff. But it could be a book, it could be a blog, it could be specific speeches that have really inspired you or have given you so much information that you have been able to kind of, use.
Well, I've been constantly stalking the extraordinary multitasker, Mr. Seth Godin.
Yeah. I've read a couple of his books too.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I stalk the man every day. I wake up, when I start writing, I sort of just go through his page. So I think just as someone who's creating content, for him, for that person, Seth Godin is the God. I feel like there is just so much to learn as a content creator, as a content marketer from him. And his write-ups, they sort of motivate you.
Yeah,
they never leave you, they leave you thinking, but they never leave you demotivated. And that's what I want to be as a writer, to be always motivated despite the number of hits that have not happened.
Yeah.
Right. Number 2, I'm very fond of this blog called doche.com. It's run by a lady called Heather. And she is, she's a mom. She has, 2 kids, and she basically writes about mental health, life in general, and fantastic blog, really fantastic blog where you sort of get in touch with what's happening in life right now, mental health space, work space, mom space, all of that. The other blog that I've been really following closely for the last, let's say a year is, there's a blog called The Cup of Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. Run by Joanne, this lady. Again, she's US based, and her blogs are about lifestyle, not beauty per se, but lifestyle, again, motherhood, fitness, everything. So I've been following that particular blog, for my sources of information. Other than that, I follow Mind Body Green. Great platform. Great platform.
Absolutely.
I follow The Greatest. Again, a great platform. Amazing stories, right? I mean, so much you can relate to, learn from again. And, in the Indian context, I am following, Love in India. I like that blog. It's about, relationships and love and everything. So I really like reading those, her blogs a lot. So I've been following, these. I just recently read a book which has really sort of, made me feel really good about running and writing. And it's called How Bad Do You Want It by Matt Fitzgerald. Amazing book. No gyan, no straightforward inspiration, but just lots of stories about how your mental fitness has everything to do with your being. So
I'm going to bookmark that right now.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And for our listeners that have not heard of these authors or blogs, all of this information will be in our show notes so that you can have a look at all the things that Tanya gets inspiration from, that is motivated from. And just last one here, Tanya, who are some guests that you would like to personally hear on our podcast? Who would you like to have in the same hot seat as you are in right now?
I would love to have Parul Sheth. She's a Bombay-based runner. She's author. She's also done her first Ironman. I think there's, a lot to hear from her about her.
Ironman.
Yeah, her story. I would love to have Gaurav Makkar here. Gaurav Makkar has just done the Epic 5. He's done 5 Ironmans, 5 consecutive days, 5 different places. I guess there's a lot to get.
Wow.
Yeah. The other person I think I would love to hear on a podcast, not just related to fitness, actually, just content and, marketing, is Shubho Sen Gupta. He's a marketing consultant, but has deep knowledge on how to get your message out there.
Nice. Awesome. So Tanya, where can people, obviously wealthyfit.com is the blog where you're at. Where are some places that people can get in touch with you if they want to potentially write for you, if they want to just learn more about your journey and get some advice from you? Where should they get in touch?
Well, of course, on my blog. That's the first page, my website, wealthyfit.com. And then they can get in touch with me on Facebook, Tanya Agarwal. I'm there. On Instagram, I'm wealthyfit Tanya Agarwal. But yeah, on Instagram, I write about writing mostly. And of course, my blogs. But yeah, these are all the platforms where they can reach out to me.
Awesome. And all of this information will be in our show notes as well. So make sure you follow Tanya, subscribe to her blog. And do you guys have a newsletter as well?
Not an active one, but I'm posting so much. I think they can just read out to me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming here, Tanya. This has truly been a pleasure and look forward to interacting with you more and hope to have you back on the show again soon.
Thanks. It was my first podcast and I loved being here. I think it was just a lot of fun, just talking about Wealthy Fit and,
Great.
knowing that there are going to be people listening to this. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure for me as well. Thank you for making it. And take care. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching or listening. We hope you gained something from this episode that helps you on your wellness journey. We have some great episodes coming up this season which will help you deep dive into different fitness and nutrition methods, like the one with Neha Bedi on Keto, or the one with my friend SUBHOJIT about becoming a fitness trainer. Definitely look out for those ones. If you liked anything from this episode, please show us some love and subscribe or follow us. I love having these conversations and I would love for you to be a part of these conversations as well. So write to us on our social media @Muncher Podcast or comment on our YouTube. Until next time,